It's funny because he's got wow me. I'm like, wow me.
Hey guys, I think we're live. We're just gonna wait for a couple of people to the rest of the folks to join the chat. We do strive to be on time, friends. We are just making sure that we get everybody organized here. First time with a live studio audience and a special guest, so we're just getting warmed up here. We're doing like our calisthenics. Yeah, we'll definitely get started very shortly. We just want to make sure we give everyone the opportunity to hop in and be part of the party here today. And then just a couple more minutes of grace, and we'll kick things off.
Hi, Anthony. Hi, Dill. Hi, Alex. Banas.
Thanks. There's
Red
Bruno.
Stone, Akira.
Do we have I'm new enough here. Do we have is like late our thing, Jason? You're always early for my meetings, but
Well, I mean, it's all about being fashionably late, you know? You got to build it up and no, just kidding. I mean, we've been using new technologies often and sometimes trying to sync everyone to start at the same time. Even just then, we were having some little technical difficulties, but beyond that, generally we're on time. Yeah, I'd say so.
I love it. Yeah, and I do want to keep us to time today. We know that is literally everyone's most precious commodity. So as much as that is a bit of a cliche, it is quite accurate. We don't want to hold people any longer than they would care to move on. So let's just give it give it 60 seconds, and we'll get going. I see our team is there. I see Bruno. I see Dan. I see a bunch of familiar names from our Discord. So that's great. And I think it'll just be the three of us, just for everyone that's early here, just the three of us today, working through the town hall. But we are ready and available to capture any questions that people may have. And we will make sure that we try to address those either throughout, if it's appropriate, if it makes sense and it's part of the flow, or if not, we will make sure that we address them at the end. Anything that for any reason we can't get to, just as far as housekeeping goes, we will do our very, very best to follow up in a timely manner. We've got the MVPs on that. So you can ask questions either throughout or later, but I do want to just give a very brief introduction to who we're working with today and who we have on board today. So first things first, welcome. Thank you. We know that this has been a very interesting and emotional last handful of days. Like I've said on a few occasions, I've had an opportunity to meet a number of you, just even through chats and through some of the all hands. But I'm Heather. I'm your moderator today for all intents and purposes. And what we're here to talk about is, as we all know, that on Monday we announced both a strategic partnership with Enigmatic Smile, and Bish is here to meet everyone, which we're delighted about. And you'll hear more from him. I will not steal his thunder. But, bluntly, the goal here is to accelerate a further mission of just getting payments globally online and making those easier for everyone. So he shares that vision, the vision that all of us at Embr have really been championing for some time. And as the other, I guess, big announcement, the announcement that has us feeling a little more emotional these days is that as we transition to more of a product-focused company, we simultaneously made the decision to sunset the Embr token. VOW very graciously, or I should say Enigmatic Smile very graciously agreed to step up and provide VOW token in equivalent to make sure that our community was made whole. And we're very grateful to them for that. And if you haven't claimed your VOW yet, we encourage you to do so. But I will not belabor this introduction because I think more importantly, you want to hear from the two gentlemen in the room who helped make this happen. Jason doesn't need an introduction to our community, but if anyone is listening in after the fact, just for light housekeeping, he is the CEO of Embr Holdings, and he is one of the people that brought us all here today. And Bish, of course, is a new face to many of us, and he is the very enthusiastic CEO of Enigmatic Smile, who's our new strategic partner. And I only had a very brief amount of encounters with Bish to date, but what I can promise you is that his passion for our combined vision is infectious, and I can't wait to hear him talk a little bit later in the town hall. So, final thought: take it if you will.
Well, thanks, Heather. I mean, obviously, great. Great seeing everyone in this stream. And Bish, happy that I'm finally able to introduce you formally to the community. Let me just start with one thing, which is kind of an update on this migration and getting the claim process across. Some updates is right now we've reached somewhat around 70% of the whole allocation that has been claimed. So this is, for all intents purposes, has been a pretty significant success considering this type of transaction or this type of event doesn't happen often. So I'd like to hand it off to Bish to have him introduce himself, and ultimately we might give some backstory as to how we've met and how we've basically come to this, shared unique passion for, we had our vision for bringing, the whole payments landscape on chain, but Bish has also, through his various endeavors, has a very strong passion for decentralization, everything that has to do with moving things on chain as well. So I'll let you do your own thing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Jason. I wasn't sure if everything had frozen there. Hi there, everyone. My name is Bish. I'm from Scotland. I've got 3 kids, family, and really quite a down-to-earth guy. And I am CEO of a company called Enigmatic Smile, which we've spent 14 years building. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a moment. But I am very excited to be able to do this alongside the Embr team and everyone in Embr. And I have to say, the guys have literally, in these situations, it's not an easy situation, but every single person, I think, is in a good position now and a better position than we could ever imagine. It's just you need to know what that position is. When I think of the work that's gone on to get everything organized and planned and be in a situation where we can multiply, hopefully hundreds of times, where everyone's positions are currently, I think the smart people in the room will understand exactly what's going on. Hi, Raphael. Thank you. Hi to everyone who's saying hi. Basically, what my job is today is to make sure that you guys are all informed of whatever you want to know. So we'll grab the questions as they come in. But the only intention here is to build immense value in a token. From my point of view, as Enigmatic Smile, we've chosen VOW token because we understand what it does differently than any other token. And when I say any other token, I don't just mean tokens. I mean every other cryptocurrency that exists, which derives its value from supply and demand and some sort of concept that fixed supply alone is the answer. Well, we come from a different perspective, which is that currency should run. The word's currency, like electric current, it comes from the same root, which is to run. And if currency isn't running within the real world, it has no value. And we believe that we've got a way to get a currency running in the real world. It starts that journey as a rewards currency flowing through loyalty companies and flowing through different banks and financial institutions. But over time, as it gains critical mass and users, and as more and more and more companies start working on VOW, there is nothing else that will be able to capture the value of the real world economic activity and commercial demand that what we see happening every single day. To give you an example, in Enigmatic Smile yesterday, we launched Shopper Stop. which in India is the largest, most respected retailer in the whole region. And within single ID, we now onboards the customers of ShopperStop, who have 10 million reward end users, and those 10 million users come into the fold. And once they come into the fold, they connect their debit cards and they start earning and spending, a derivative of VOW, which is called VINR. We have the same thing in Europe, V euros, same thing in dollar form, which is V dollars. But all of these derivatives end up feeding VOW. And we've been waiting, and this is the bit you guys maybe will make a lot of sense. We've been waiting for a long time to connect up these dots, 14 years in a normal commercial business to connect up all these dots. And when all of those dots get connected through a layer 2, which is the world's first layer 2, which runs on a gas fee, which is V dollars itself, you will have a gigantic situation where anyone holding Bitcoin, anyone holding Ether, anyone holding any crypto at all who wants to spend it in the real world can literally just spend it directly in a shop, not in a fake way where there's an exchange of value where the merchant isn't actually accepting crypto, but in a real way, which is literally spending the V dollar layer into that business. So when you understand how it all fits together, you would also perceive how on-ramping, off-ramping, and all of the stuff that's going on with the guys at Embr was of interest to me personally. I looked at the little widget you guys had, the checkout thing, and I put it on our website a while back, and I thought that is just such a cool thing. It's such a cool thing, but it needs to, in my view, exist within a really super wide ecosystem. And I hope that's what we're all doing today. When you look at our websites and you look at some of the clients that we're working with, it's basically the whole planet. So you will see that across the world, we have a transaction layer, which means we can match credit card and debit card transactions across the whole planet directly with the card schemes themselves, which means we have the ability for anyone to register a card in any app anywhere in the planet. And basically, when that customer transacts at a shop, there's no integrations, nothing required in the real world. And we can push this new currency system into that customer's hands into a wallet where they don't even understand what's going on in the crypto universe. They're just collecting rewards and able to go and spend those rewards. And I guess that's another element where we touch upon what guys have been doing in Embr, which is abstracting away the complication between on-chain and off-chain, commerce. So I think we're in a good situation. I'll stop it there, right? And I'll come back to Heather and Jason and give you a kind of idea of where we're at.
Thanks, Bish. Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think the whole type of genesis of this is definitely when you guys started using checkout. And from there, we kind of began having this conversation of what could be like in terms of your ecosystem and what we're aiming for, what could be more of it? And obviously, your unique positioning on creating these V dollars or these various different currencies in all these international markets is very much in line also with our vision for kind of creating this mesh liquidity that would, at term, create this seamless kind of interoperability as well with regards to when you want to bring money on chain, but also enable this interoperability once it's on it, the value, and move it around, and then obviously take it off. So, from our position coming into the Enigmatic Smile ecosystem and all the various partners that are part of it in their respective markets and geographies makes it extremely, extremely exciting for us in terms of market penetration. You know, it's obvious for most companies that are starting, getting the first 1,000 customers or getting the first 100,000 customers. It's always the hardest lift. And if there is a way for us to, you know, accelerate or give some sort of, not guarantee, but like this self-confidence or this confidence that we have kind of this first milestone in our back pocket, then that increases exponentially the chance of success. And then ultimately, I think the important part here is that there's still strong correlation between Embr and what we do in terms of our success and the whole VOW ecosystem and Enigmatic Smile partners' success. Because the underlying thesis here is that if we remove friction to get in and to go out, then we increase exponentially, you know, the adoption rate, the conversion rate, the actual addressable market of this whole thing shifts and just goes through the roof. And I think this is where we're totally in line and we want to take this. Obviously, there's more, you know, in our roadmap, and we're excited about what's yet to come. But what I think, and maybe Heather, you want to take it from here with regards to um, the, you know, so we have all of these people that have been obviously entrusting us with their excitement about what we were building, and where we were going, and believed in our vision. And now this is a combined vision between you guys and us, and we're going to work towards that together. But I'd like to, you know, spend a little bit of time in potentially giving real estate in this call for what's the exciting part of being, you know, part of your community, Bish, with regards to people that hold the asset, and what's the kind of utility for them?
Okay, well, let me give you the basic idea. Look, we're not babies, right? We're not babies. Yeah, we're we're dealing in real world business, like on a day-to-day basis. And when I look at, you know, I had Bitcoins when they were 86 quid from MT Gox. Yeah, we understand crypto and we understand what it is. I trademarked cryptorewards.com in 2013. Yeah, so this is the level of time we're in this solution. And as the solution built and as the distribution mechanic for currency operated across the globe, you realize that, you know, a currency system itself it needs more than one use case. It's not just rewards is enough. It's aid payments. It's high level financial gymnastics. It's everything from wholesalers to suppliers, from farm to table, all the way up, on ramping, off ramping. Many people have different needs and use cases around currency, and nobody is doing it right. I'm telling you, nobody in the world on every one of those coins is doing it right, because none of them, if they were doing it right, they'd take over the whole planet. And that hasn't happened. And after 14 years of Bitcoin, I can't literally go into the supermarket and pay with my Bitcoin. What's the point in it then? Oh, some digital gold thing in the background. I don't know. But when I look around, we have a fixed supply coin of 800 million coins that are sitting at 35 cents. And we know what's going to happen with that token. We don't focus on price. We don't give a damn about price right now. What we give a damn about is utility, absolute utility, not just in one industry, but in every single industry. And again, when you understand the industries we've been investing in, from unattended retailing, that's vending, from filling up your car with petrol, to universities, to hospitals, where you're able to buy whatever you want to buy in those hospitals, to all the biggest reward programs in the world being connected to us, you start seeing this world where 1 billion people can be onboarded. Now, we're not at 1 billion people, but right at this moment, ES reaches 280 million people's credit cards and debit cards with offers. In the UK, through our group of companies, 90% of all the offers on debit cards and credit cards from shops come from us. So the whole thing is coming from our sort of wider team. The same exists in Scandinavia. The same is now starting to work nicely in America, in Canada, in India. We have the biggest sports personalities, like literally the biggest, like David Beckham level or Shaq level in MS Dhoni. We have everything from McDonald's to Pizza Hut to all the mega brands that are out there already connecting and integrating into this kind of ecosystem. And it's very rational, very simple, very basic business of connecting retailers with audiences of customers of banks and different cards. We understood a while back that we could bring all of that on chain, and that process of getting to the point of total on-chain connection ends up in September. So we're running this big sort of event where we bring everyone up to the event. There's 300 tickets for you guys to turn up if you'd like to turn up. And you turn up into this event, and at that point we connect it up. Now, many people sell dreams, yeah, and they don't actually deliver them in the end. That's something very different than what you're going to experience here. When you come into an ecosystem like the level of complexity we're dealing with and talking with, and you actually give that a chance, yeah, and you explore it and understand it, slowly but surely everything will start making sense. And when I see Embr as a community and as a project, I see a massive gap in that utility framework that can be plugged in. So when I look at what everyone gains, we gain 120 employees working today, 28,000 other token holders, plus anybody who's wanting to join in from here on in, who's at the very, very beginning of something which touches already millions of people's lives, not just a few people's lives, but million people's lives. So I think it's really a case of stronger together. And of course, you can take your claim and dump it. And there's a bunch of people who do dump it. But the people that stick around will see what happens next. And obviously, too responsible to stand up there and saying, you know, VOW's going to $100. But I'd like to say it, but I can't.
Yeah, that's I like that. I'm seeing a little bit of commenter on utility, and I think what is really important to take away from that conversation is that what we as a small team have been able to do to this extent of utility, and we've taken baby steps and reasonable steps in that direction. It's supercharged on the Enigmatic Smile side of things, on essentially on day one, as far as utility goes, where we talk about utility over price. We are giving. I feel like we're kind of like Robin Hood here, but we're giving the opportunity for tremendous upside a lot quicker in this transaction, right? Is that fair to say, Jason or Bish, that in this transaction, you guys just had that utility? You're already.
So the thing is, sorry for interrupting. The thing is that we work with banks, we work with card schemes, we work with all kinds of different companies, and so we never project forward price because it's just not the thing to happen. But and that's why we use interchangeably the word of utility, because it should be bloody obvious, right? If I can use a token in 150,000 shops, it changes the game because you can just use it. That's the key, is understanding that connection. And when you understand that connection and you absorb that connection, well, we're in a really interesting game here. You just need to grasp it mentally in your mind and go, this is what we can do. So we're looking for an immense participation from as many businesses as possible. We've bought retailers, we've bought all kinds of different companies into the ecosystem already. We have a chain of 31 stores in the UK using vCurrency, and for the last 12 weeks, we've doubled the sales of 31 franchise owners' stores. Doubled the sales. when you start going into universes where you're doubling people's sales, the word of commercial demand is everyone is coming. Everyone is coming. You can't double a business's sales and not attract everyone to what is doing that. Yeah. So it's like stage by stage by stage. There's never a journey that you just turn on and it goes on straight away. But if you can take all the best things about technology and wrap them into a truly decentralized token system that nobody controls, that is the game. Because now we're all working on a currency that has spectacular upside potential. Yeah, spectacular upside potential.
Yeah, I love it. So there's actually a really good question that I think we could just springboard onto, Bish. What does Enigmatic Smile gain from giving the vow to the Embr holders? And I alluded earlier that was, in my opinion, a generous move. You guys were really good. Really trying to make the one for one transaction happen for any holders. Do you have an idea of what that gain is, or how do you feel about that?
I'm an investor. I invest. Yeah, we buy companies. We profit off of companies. But my investment thesis as a whole is to invest in networks, things that have the potential to be a network. Do we know that it'll work? No. So no matter what you buy, you can't tell if it's going to work, or you just hope it is. And in the investing world, 90% of everything you ever do turns to shit. Excuse my language, yeah? But that's the same with tokens. That's the same with everything, right? There's a very high likelihood of everything going wrong in everything anyone does. So when you're making a decision to invest, and I'm not talking invest money, I'm talking invest a vow. It could be invest anything, time, attention, anything that you're investing. You need to choose the place that makes the most sense. And for me, that is individuals with a perspective in life which is beyond what normal people are thinking. So I think to think of a community that has gravitated around Embr itself, a community that's gathered around Embr and Jason and his team. Obviously, you guys see something, right? So you see this vision, you see something that can get you somewhere, and you hope that takes you in a certain direction. But when you look at a guy like Jason and you go, right, what is this person capable of? What is this team capable of? It could be nothing and it could all just disappear. Or it could be a huge opportunity and we don't know the difference. And if if we've got 25 companies doing the same thing and then 50 companies doing the same thing, I bloody well hope one of them rips it and becomes a gigantic network. Yeah. So what do we gain by this process is giving everyone, including Enigmatic Smile, including Embr, including the token holders, including the communities, the highest possible chance of success. So we look at every situation and we go, how high a risk do you want your success to be? Do you want it to be like net failure rate on if you are working with one business, or could we maybe increase that to 90% success rate by bringing 50 businesses together and then 100 businesses together? That's the thought process of what we gain.
Did we freeze?
Well, not me.
I'm like, I think it's maybe on Bish's side a little bit. I'm like, so I love the.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hopefully we get Bish back here, but I just wanted to say I love that you are bringing the investor energy because that is so much of the way that obviously the business world works, but also the crypto world works. Robin has a question, and he asked it in Discord, and I think yesterday or the day before as well, and I did not feel adequately prepared to answer it myself. But I think it's a really thoughtful one coming from you. So Embr technology, we know this is not exclusively owned. You did not buy our technology. It is not, we haven't been absorbed or swallowed up into the Enigmatic Smile ecosystem. We are strategic partners. But so what is the benefit then to Enigmatic Smile or VOW? Just maybe a little bit of a investment, sort of your thesis on investing despite a lack of exclusivity.
Yeah, so I mean, like in terms of a process, from my perspective, if you try and take 51% of a business, so like of course you could try and invest and take 51% of a business, and the thought process is, if you do that, you might negatively impact the mindset and creativity and freedom of the project. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to do it. So it's trying to back a person and trying to back a company. Remember that the token and the company are separate things. The token doesn't have any rights over the company. The company, builds a community of advocates through the token holders. So given that everyone is hoping from utility that Jason and the Embr Labs team provide, that's exactly what I'm investing in, the same as everybody else. We're just looking for the same upside in every single way, in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah, I love that. What it would do none of us any good to be entirely focused on one group of customers when the world is effectively our oyster, right? The benefits us all to have the technology out there. The other question, and this is a little bit of a hard pivot, but I like it because I think it sticks to the topic of just the value of VOW, the value. Sorry, caught myself in like a little tongue twister almost there. Talk to us about staking, because that is something that was a bit of a hot topic on our side as it related to making sure that anything that was staked was also sort of on the one-to-one side with the VOW tokens. Is there a single staking option available for VOW? Will the L2 blockchain bring this option? If we can just maybe get into the mechanics of staking on the VOW side.
Yeah, I'm looking at some great questions down here, so we can paper up every single question, I guess, later. We can find a way to do that. But in terms of the way that this works, we have a company, and I wish I could say all of the things I could say, but I can't say some of them right now on this call. But we have a company. We had a company called Aventus we worked with initially to get this process started, and we were working on an Aventus chain. So all of the transactions on the layer 2 were settling to the Aventus chain, and then we decided that in order for the future that we need to have a chain that is settling and deriving its gas fees, even though we can derive the security from Ethereum or any EVM chain. The gas fees on that chain need to be $, because let me just kind of explain this briefly. If I am a business who's paying for transactions on a layer 2, obviously if I have to budget $10,000 to pay my transactions to Visa or MasterCard, in the same way I've got a budget of paying $10,000 to pay my fees for gas fees. But if the value of that currency goes down, then now I need to find more of these tokens to pay it. Or if it goes up, I'm screwing myself up by not knowing when to buy that token to pay my gas fees. It's all complicated. It's all an issue. When we use $, for the actual gas fees on the network, let's say it's half a penny or something like that for a transaction, or a half a cent for a transaction, then I know I'm paying a certain budget. But if I can go and buy from the market cheaper, I'm going to buy from the market cheaper. So we end up with the cheapest layer 2 imaginable, and that layer 2 in itself is connecting up a lot of different parties. So that gives you the answer about the layer 2. The layer 2 just connects into any blockchain. So we don't really care about which blockchain anybody's on or anything like that, because we're looking for a financial revolution, an economic revolution, not just a technical revolution. So there's far smarter guys than me in terms of technical, some of the present company included. Sorry, what was your question? I was reading it from here. What was your actual question?
just the staking.
Staking,
The
yeah, staking.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, VOW is a currency system up here. Enigmatic Smile is a company that uses that currency system. All the other companies are just using a currency system. So within that currency system, we don't offer any staking incentives. We don't offer anything like that because there's no we here. Yeah, of course, we have tokens on our balance sheets, which we can offer to communities to create strategic relationships or whatever's required. But the basic principle is we're not commanding the currency. We didn't issue a token. We're not in that universe. However, there is a protocol called the TLN protocol, which is a liquidity farming, liquidity staking layer with the most genius way of handling this process, which makes it infinitely sustainable. It is more than the scope of this call to explain how that works. But if anyone's looking to do that, to use capital or tokens in a manner which generates return on a regular basis, all you need to do is buy some VOW and some V dollars, put them into Pancake Swap, generate an LP token, and then you can stake that LP token. And there's all kinds of benefits you can get by staking for 365 days. But you don't actually stake VOW directly or V dollars directly. You need to stake DEX generated tokens in order to do that. I think it's worthwhile doing a sort of call, perhaps, if there's enough demand for it from people in this community, to show you exactly how that process works and maybe guide you into that process so you can understand it. But there's 10,000, 18,000. There's 18,000 liquidity providers right now between Uniswap and Pancake Swap, and out of that group of people, I'm sure you can find somebody to show you how it goes. But I'm very sure we can have someone organize a special call for specifically that purpose so you can understand.
Great. I don't know. I'm loving this flow with Bish. You've had some talk time, but I do want to ask, maybe we can, I'm trying to figure out whether I don't want to jump back, but I know, Jason, there was a question that I liked a lot. I'm just scrolling to make sure I have it here and I have it captured, on checkout. Do you want to just address the current state of checkout, and then we can jump to the question that I think is interesting as it relates to checkout, which is about retailers, and where Bish has thoughts about how checkout might be able to be applied. But do you just want to give like a current state of the union on checkout and its status and that kind of
thing? Absolutely. I mean, bottom line, the use cases are very wide and deep, and Bish has mentioned one of them that together we're going to aim at solving, which is all this hoops and loops of doing these jumps to fulfill a simple actual end intent, which is staking or buying a specific asset, which is on chain, on a specific chain or another. So at the end of the day, we're trying to solve this for everyone. But specifically with regards to taking this to market, we'll be presenting, right now that we're calling it on-chain checkout, we're going to be presenting this in September at the VOW Up conference. And obviously a bunch of you are being invited to attend. But from a status perspective, there's a lot of various moving parts, as you can imagine, when you want to bring a compliant and very rigorous in both security and efficiency and speed. It's not an easy product to bring to market. But what I can tell you is we're always moving forward. Mm-hmm. And what I'd like to do is, as much as Bish has mentioned, it requires another call as well to dive into the depths of, what's the current state of affairs. But what I can tell you is that we are on track. Now, some people might say, so that track is always moving, the goalposts, etc. The reality is everything is always moving. And what we have to do is make sure that we keep, working forward, and that, we don't lose our momentum, which that's what we haven't been losing. And ultimately, with this new strategic partnership, it has dramatically increased our velocity. And we're just in the process of entering this new speed of velocity. But what I'd like to do, because there's a bunch of new things that I'd like obviously to share with everyone, is let's just get another call in the next week or two so we can bring everyone up to kind of where we're at and explain how what we've been working will fit not only in general from a market perspective, but also how would it fit in correlation to VOW and, you know, the whole kind of ES ecosystem.
Love it. Yeah. And I mean, that's ultimately, I think that just the reassurance that we are still actively working on that product. It's, you know, we're hopeful that, not hopeful. I mean, we know we're going to get somewhere with it. But it is, it has been, as you can imagine, the last week or two has been a little busy on our side. So we haven't, we've been more focused on this and making sure that this is successful for everyone involved. Claire asks, and I want to, again, I'm doing a quick time check here. Our goal is to wrap up on the hour. If we have additional questions, of course, we can still try to filter them in. But Claire is asking what incentives, Bish, just to go back to what are retailers loving about sort of the ecosystem that you're playing in right now? Are you seeing any trends that are shifting them more and more to the cryptoverse, you know what I mean? Or to on-chain stuff?
So just to give you, because I see questions coming in here and they're really valid, interesting questions. You know, you can again address some of them, but if we just look at a basic, simple principle, my entire passion in life as a human being is I cannot understand. I'm going to sound a bit strange here, but I cannot wake up in the morning, another day of my life, and think that the money I'm using is funding wars to kill people. I cannot do that. Yeah, I cannot be in a situation where central banks are printing money which is used to fund the killing of children. That's as basic as it is. That is my driver, and my deepest life mission is to find the key to unlocking an alternative to that path for humanity. And it's not going to come from a bunch of people sitting in Davos telling everybody what they can do with their money. Yeah. So this is the mission. But I can't also stand out there going, rah, 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 I'm just a crazy, freaky hippie guy. So I put that part of my personality schizophrenically into the side. And then I just go, well, how could such a solution be achieved? And this is coming down to the retailer perspective. Businesses every single day do something which is print money. And the way they print money is by just creating discount vouchers for $10 and giving them to people. So I'm a retailer and you come into my shop and I say, hey, there's $10 for the next time you come back as a discount in my shop. And what I realized is that with this discount voucher that they're printing up, if they take that discount voucher and they print 5 million of them in all the newspapers of the land, now there is 5 million $10 off discount vouchers in all these newspapers, which is $50 million has just been created in some form of value by this retailer. And the retailer doesn't need to hold that value on its liability sheet in any business anywhere in the world. And there's very clear tax treatments about how that value is used. So I thought these businesses are creating this value, and what supports the value? The value is being supported by the retailer's promise of accepting the value back against their products and services. So if we realize that all these businesses are doing it every single day, giving out vouchers and coupons and everything all over the world, and all of them, when that voucher comes back into them, they suffer a discount on the way in, and then they tear up the voucher and they throw it out in the bin. What we realized is, given that there are $7 trillion every single year compounding of money or negative money that's being created in coupons and vouchers at all levels in the supply chain, what happens if we could create a tokenomic ecosystem that captures all of that value? What is it? Is it even possible to create an ecosystem which captures that value? So I hope I'm not boring you. I'm just trying to do my job. So I put that on a side for the minute, and I'll come back there in a moment. Enigmatic Smile have spent 14 years building cashback rewards programs, which means that you use your card to shop at X business, you spend 100 euros, and the business is invoiced for 10%. So we actually take $10 or 10 euros off the business as real money, and we give 7% of that to the customer, and we keep a 3% margin. That's how the whole world of cashback has been working. Now, we have spent quite some time now building up on this journey and are doing about $5 million, $6 million dollars every single month of billings across all of these retailers. And we're just literally starting this process. So that's actual real money being billed into a system. So all of those retailers, if I can take this ecosystem and just insert it into that ecosystem, what's the difference? In the old way, the retailer is paying cash money out. And in the new way, they're paying no money out. What they're doing is they're just people shopping, give away digital discount vouchers, and then accept back the digital discount vouchers. I hope that makes sense. The key exercise here is when the businesses become nodes on a network, and on a large enough network that just becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, we have decentralized the issuance of currency away from the centralized parties that there is no other solution on planet Earth to solve. Bitcoin doesn't solve it because it's a fixed supply. No one solves it. The way we solve it is VOW as a token that you're holding in your hand. That currency there, the VOW system, it's a fixed supply too, but it allows a retailer to issue an amount of V currency into the world, or V dollars into the world. That is what VOW's utility is. It's a decentralized backstop across the whole planet and a digital reserve currency for the production of and issuance and tokenization of discount value across the world. In a very simple way, it saves retailers 80% on what they're currently doing. Wow. But in a more powerful way, if Heather is standing with 10 V dollars and Heather can go and use them in the petrol station, and she doesn't need to go to the petrol station, how much would I buy 100 V dollars off of Heather for? I'll buy them for $80, and I can go and use them in the petrol station, and Heather now has 80 real dollars in her hands. So we're creating a new form of currency that is backed by every market participant because they issue it in the first place, just like Pizza Hut, and therefore they accept it back. That model creates a huge layer of liquidity that is just a growing layer of liquidity across the planet, where anyone can trade fiat or trade crypto in and out of. And the thing that's holding it together isn't somebody who's guaranteeing the currency supply. It's not e-money. It's not even money. It's negative money. That form of liquidity, given that it's liquidity, needs ways to come in and out of it. So what Embr's creating, when you ask about exclusivity and you ask about all of these terms, none of it really matters in the end of the day. If we're playing the right game, the right players are going to want to interact with that game. Yeah. And so that's how I see that process.
That was super enlightening, even for me. I've heard bits and pieces of this story, sort of firsthand, thirdhand, watched some of your videos, but even just for me to have heard that as passionately from you. And obviously there's no one, I can't imagine there's anyone in the room that wouldn't agree with your lead on there about just how the world definitely does need, certainly doesn't need anyone funding anything any more negative than we currently have to deal with. With 10 minutes left, I want to make sure we address, whatever questions that we're able to understand. I think, Anthony, do you want to try to address that one quickly, Bish? Or is this like which a full
one? Which question?
the retailers buying in, everyone's so what I love, can I just say, what I really love about what's happening right now is now everyone's like, whoa, okay, I want to know more about VOW. I want to understand how this works. And we can go in one of two directions here. If you're feeling generous with your time, and I know you've got a lot on the go, we can dig in a little bit more if you want to try to answer some of those. The alternative is we can do a whole, you guys can host your own super session on it. But for what time you have, let's work through it. I feel like now our questions are really spiraling in that direction, and I like it because it's exciting for all of us. And I'm learning at the same time too. But I do want to leave some time so that we can wrap up and really thank everybody too. So do you want to give this 5 more minutes if you're able?
Do you want to share the screen? Do you want me to bring the screen up?
Yeah, I thought I had shared it, but can you make it go? And just let me know if it's on, because I can't.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, got a spreadsheet here. Oh, cool. Amazing.
Yeah, so the only thing is I was trying to answer Anthony's question, just so you can rationalize what we're talking about here. And it takes a lot of sort of depth of thinking to see how this actually works. But this is the normal cashback model that currently exists in the normal universe, which is if I go into a retailer and I say, I'm going to deliver you $10 million of sales from our audience, will you give 10% cash back? So they say yes. So we sign them up for 10% cash back, and we also charge a success fee on the sales, so 3%. And so what you end up doing is the retailer ends up with $10 billion of sales. They pay us $1 million, which we pass back to the customers. We keep 300,000, and the actual product cost, I'm assuming 80% cost. It could be less, but even in that scenario, the retailer is left with $700,000 of profit. Yeah. So I hope that makes sense. Is that clear, Jason? Did I explain that right? I hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, this is a pretty straightforward business model. Now, the exciting part is the rest. That's what people are excited.
Well, this is the next part. So he was asking about, does a retailer need to pay a certain amount of money? So let's look at the same model using the $, right, as existed here, but just applying the system for that specific business. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive the same amount of sales, $10 million, and we're going to issue $1 million worth of digital $, discount vouchers to the customer. Now, remember, the digital dollars look exactly like a normal dollar in a cashback app. It makes no difference at all. It just looks the same. So if you go into your banking app, you still have a $, balance instead of a dollar app or dollar balance. So because the retailer is issuing $1 million, we want to make sure that retailer doesn't go out of business, or at least there's some level of collateral in place. And so we ask the retailer for $200,000 of deposit in VOW. So the system only allows VOW to be that deposit. So the retailer pays $200,000 worth of VOW, and that allows them to issue 1 million $. So the retailer takes in 10 million of sales. It issues out 1 million of these discount vouchers, which costs them no money, right? Because they didn't pay for that money. Then what they do is they accept back the $1 million into their business. So they accept them back as $1 within their own business, just like Pizza Hut does when it issues its $1 million of discounts. It accepts them back within the business. And of course, on the first 10 million, they gave away $1 million so it didn't cost them anything. When the second million, when the million returned to them, the $1 million returned to them, they have to give away $1 million worth of product. So we know the same product cost applies of $8 million, the same in both businesses. And we know they're giving away $800,000. And what actually happens is they have now made a profit of 1.2 million on the same $10 million of sales. They've doubled their profit, or almost doubled their profit. But here's the kicker. Those $, don't die. Those $, stay in supply. And so what happens is they now have back 1 million $. If they dump those $, on the market at 50 cents on the dollar, they will get in another $500,000. And if you are sitting there as a customer who gets the chance to buy £1 million worth of spend in a bunch of shops for $500,000, obviously you're going to do that. So the retailer now adds even more onto their balance sheet of profit. And if the retailer doesn't want to sell them, but instead wants to use them anywhere within their supply chain, or give them out to staff, or roll the process again, they actually get the entire benefit back if they can use that million on their phone company or electricity company or someone else within the network. Does that make sense?
It does to me. Does it? What matters is does it to everyone that's involved. I mean, I think we've got still there's a learning curve ahead. That's going to be inevitable. But that's also going to be a constant for all of us, right? As we get more information, we continue to learn, and I think that's as part of just pure business sense. As the universe adapts and changes, and as we make progress in one direction and we see success, I say we, this is the universal we, this is all of us as a group, as an organization. As we see progress in one direction, we tend to run harder in that direction. When we see a little less progress in another direction, we still try our best, but we run a little less hard. I think I'm loving that I'm seeing comments this is that are truly enthusiastic as we have been about this opportunity. Wow.
Well,
I mean,
that's how it should be, guys. I'm not joking. I'm trying to be like reasonably stable here, but this is I'm sitting here looking, going, why do I even need to convince anybody? Because when you actually understand what's going on, it's so pervasive, like an invisible octopus that's going to eat the whole planet with negative fiat. Yeah. And when you understand that level, it's an infinitely recurring loop. Now you're getting into this thing just as we put all of that on chain. So that happens at the end of September. And who knows what happens next, right? But trust me, there's a lot of very, very, very smart people who know what happens next. And there's nothing in the whole world in any other crypto system which is doing anything similar. And I promise you, in terms of any vow I've personally got, I would never, ever sell it. That's my honest to God feeling. Why would I? There's nothing backing a dollar, but every V dollar is backed by vow. So I hope that makes sense. And if you can see that vision, then you should be able to, if you're thinking positively and you're looking forward rather than backward, understand why Embr, with this project and everything in between, is just going to explode everything that you've ever imagined holding an Embr token and now holding a vow token. So what more can anybody do than what Jason negotiated is keep your Embr token. Nobody's taking an Embr token off of anyone. All that he negotiated was vow that's worth the same market value to the Embr token holder with zero chance of manipulation because it was done over a period of time. So I hope that answers a lot of the deeper questions. Will I back Embr with cash into Embr? Probably. And will I push that as far as we can? Probably, just like I would do with any other company we were working with. Okay. Will I take 51%? Will we take 51% of Embr and control Jason's universe? Never. Because what would be the point in that? Yeah. Like it would just.
Like, okay, let's go.
No, just like, I mean, this is a great way, I think, of wrapping up the call. And if I may add, the only thing I'll say is, I think at the end of the day, people are going to start seeing this thing that, it took us, not to say that it happened overnight, that it took us to realize like the synergies between us as an infrastructure provider with regards to moving value around and you creating this value. Then there's a clear fit, there's a clear fit, and we wanted to work together on this in a more embedded way, in a more strategic way. And we have our, even though you are where you are and we are where we are, in our path ahead, just as much as you have bumps that you need to go over. And a lot of the bumps that we could foresee either now or later, you're providing solutions for. And clearly, what you've been exposing here and what we've been trying to convey is that the bumps that you were seeing in your path forward, we are providing solutions for.
Yeah.
So this is the natural fit that we've been trying to, communicate and to get everyone excited about. And hopefully, I think you can imagine, someone like myself or even someone from within the team and, start brainstorming with the ES team or the VOW team. And there's just this natural cohesion around shared vision. And there's nothing better than to work together towards that goal because, 1+1 doesn't equal, 2, it equals 3. So,
100%.
Jason, you have the mic, but I just wondered if you wanted to take this opportunity. I know we have a lot of really supportive community members that have been here for a long time, many of which I've only recently gotten to know. Any thoughts on anything you want to say to them just in terms of their support? I know we've got a few folks feeling a little spicy, but the vast majority of our community has been just tremendously supportive and really all in. Thoughts there?
yeah, sure. I mean, fundamentally, I think nothing really changed with regards to our goal and where we want to go. And ultimately, the last thing that we want is, this relationship to go away. We've built great, in my opinion, one of the most loyal and, rewarding community out there. And we'd be stupid to basically shut everything down. I mean, ultimately, we all believe in this kind of on-chain future, and we'd love to have you guys be part of like our early adopters and obviously be the first one to adopt whatever we're bringing into market and receive your feedback and your comments and your like advice as first users. So this is kind of how we see this community continuing. And you've seen the notices and kind of the announcement in our various socials, which is we're in the process of changing the vocation of these areas of point of contact. And we're going to keep everybody still engaged around our vision, but just more in line with product. And we're going to obviously keep close relationship with the VOW ecosystem and ES, and ultimately we'll be sharing, news that are relevant to both. But at the end of the day, we want to solve this big problem. The visceral problem that we have is that we think, at the end of the day, this whole experience of going on chain is as significant of a move as we've experienced in the late 90s and early 2000 when people went online. And we feel uniquely positioned that we can solve this. And you all believed in the fact that that we can. And we're obviously preaching for our own choir, but we are so close to being able to solve this that it's not going to be funny. So this is going to be a bloodbath with regards from an industry positioning perspective. This is the equivalent of going from 0 to 1 in the sense that it's not an iterative upgrade here. This is a system-wide upgrade that is going to be totally different. And there's a lot in the pipeline with regards to this and what the technology would enable. But I'd like to end on one thing, and I'll give you the opportunity, Bish, to talk about this thing that we've been able to acquire, jointly by brainstorming and going really and just saying, let's just try. And if it happens, then fuck yeah, let's go. So I'll leave you with the mic for that last bit, but this is one of the most exciting thing that lies ahead of us. if you understand what I'm pointing at.
Yeah. But before we say
Okay.
that, let me take 2 more seconds, because I think if people don't understand this, they won't understand just how comprehensive this is. I can't share my phone at the moment, okay? But this is an application, yeah, that we use in the UK all the time, and every month we have got to the point now where every 5,000 users generates £1 million a month. Okay, we are waiting for MasterCard to go live in the UK, which it will go live by, let's say, the end of August or going into the middle of September, and then we'll start marketing this app. Now, just to give you an idea, this is one of 19 different apps that are all running the same sort of tech in the background. So I go into this app, and what you do, I'm trying to do it all backwards, right? But basically, you go into the app, and you, as soon as you download the app, you press payment card, okay? And then what happens is you link a payment card at the top, so you can just basically, you can just basically link any credit card, any debit card within the app, and your credit card is linked. That's all you do. You link your card one time. You never need to ever think again. No cookies, no nonsense. Every single time that user interacts at any merchant we have onboarded anywhere on the planet, that user is now an active user mining out V currency wherever they go in the world. Yeah. So now this user can click on, can click on thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses around them, you know, everybody, and they start earning like a percentage back in V pounds on everything that they do. And that balance builds up in their account, and you can see different currencies. And then when you go into the, when you go in, you can obviously check all your transactions and see wherever you've spent money and earned rewards, etc. And it goes into your balance. You can send to anyone. You can buy. You can, request. So it's got push payments and pull payments running through it. Where we're not a currency, we're a disc around. So what happens then is, if I go into a store and any of the stores, and I press my pay button because I want to pay with my reward, okay, I now have my reward, and I can go and directly spend it in any of the companies. Now, that is how how somebody earns and burns. Now, take the app and just imagine it just being inserted into other apps. So the user doesn't leave the app they're currently in. So they're in their bank app. Their cards that is already in the bank just get switched on by one button, and that customer now earns and can use the currency within the system. The levels of technical orchestration are gigantic to get to that point. We have the biggest brands in the world who are working with us, and we acquired the biggest ability in America as a brand that every single person in America knows, that is sitting there. That is going to go live, where not just the blockchain rights, but the reward rights and everything within that ecosystem are all tied into it. You know, not 1 million users or 5 million users, 50 million users in one hit. The same with all the clients. If you look on ES's website, you'll see everyone from Cash App to Bank of America to Visa to all kinds of different companies who exist in the cashback ecosystem, where we're going to start onboarding everyone into a better technology in the background that is obviously something on blockchain. So in order to do that, I was sitting in Dubai with Jason, and I just heard Jason's speech. Yeah. And his speech, as he gave a moment ago, was that the shift from, living a normal life into going online, that shift to going online is also existing here. Not just within the crypto universe that we've been building as Enigmatic Smile, utilizing the VOW mechanisms, but in general, how do you get your money into the online world? Every single day, there's someone asking, how do I buy? Everywhere you go, there's somebody saying, how do I buy this? How do I do this? And Jason was talking about this this shift of people moving from Web 2 into Web 3. And as he was talking, I was hearing him saying, yes, so now we're going to be bringing people on chain. Yeah, so we're bringing people on chain. And so this idea of moving people on chain just started playing in the back of my mind. And I said, you know what, mate? I wonder if anyone's got a trademark for on chain. And so we applied in the UK for the trademark of on chain. And this is a trademark which Jason gets for utilizing with the project in future. The actual trademark in the category of payment processing for on-chain itself is now held within this universe. And if you can imagine what that means, the amount of legal letters that can get sent out, the amount of protection we can put in place, it is wonderful. So I don't know, perhaps you want to carry on from there?
Yeah, just wanted to say that, you know, the products that we will be bringing into market are now going to be under this brand, which is going to be probably the biggest brand you can think of in this new era of the web.
And you're the only ones who know about it because we've not done it. We've not explained that to anyone. We're waiting for that moment. Yeah.
And yeah, so we can basically do a full session on this, but this is something we've been working on, and we feel is going to have a tremendous amount of impact, both on what is it and what it's going to be. It's in the name, you know, so couldn't it be simpler? It couldn't. So I think, Heather, if you want to wrap this up, I think we've spent a good amount of time.
Maybe I can nick in one little sec. Sorry, I just overtalk, yeah, but one little thing. I don't know who Anthony Quinquist is, but he's really obviously pretty sharp in this whole understanding. And he understands the more vouchers emitted, okay, the more bullish it is for VOW token. When you understand that and you understand how easy it is to emit vouchers, that should make sense to everybody. And second of all, I just want to say, honestly, Jason, Eli, Ben, Dan, Heather, everyone within the Embr team, probably can't mention everybody yet, but you know, thank you for everything you're doing. It's just going to be great.
And we are very grateful to you. Thank you to Bish, of course, as like, I guess, since we're hosting this, thank you for being our guest. It has been obviously super enlightening for a lot of people that have taken the time to join us. It will be enlightening for those that will maybe catch up on the transcript after the event. We are not gone. We are very here. The fact that we own a brand as meaningful as on-chain and just it, like literally. I won't steal anyone's thunder on future announcements, but it is all good things, and we are very excited about the future. So thank you. From what I understand, this has been a tremendous community for many number of years, and we have nowhere to go but up through this partnership. You know, I love VOW because we can like vow to stay in touch. We can vow. We can, you know, we have so many cheesy things that we can leave this with, but I'll stop now and spare everyone what do we got here? Vow to change the world.
To change the world. Yeah, that's exactly
We're reading
right.
backwards. Well, let's vow to do that together. And I don't think there's a better way we could possibly wrap it up. But thanks again to our support team. Thanks to Bruno. Thanks to Dan. Thanks to everyone who has been helping out on the sidelines. And if there are follow-ups required, we are on it. So
thanks, everyone.
And one more, can I just say thank you to the Embr community. I hope you can really grasp what we're doing here. We will hold that staking call, so to explain to you how that works, and we'll organize with Jason and Heather how that can happen. But thank you very, very much for